We have arrived at last at the end of Tokyo Ghoul. What a long, strange journey it has been, to say that ultimate cliche line. Although it was a bit more of a project than I expected, I didn't realize the final volume was like a double volume. I'm still glad that I recorded making videos of this entire last volume and feeding into this weird complex I have about finishing series and feeling like I don't give them the proper emotional space. Because although it took a while and there were many delays I won't get into, I think I did allow myself to give this series the proper emotional space. And I really enjoyed discussing it. It was such a weird series. I'm sure I said this before, but based on just kind of like cultural osmosis, I had heard of Tokyo Ghoul, and my understanding was that, oh, this is like an edgy series. This is like really violent and full of despair, and it didn't really interest me that much. And then I found out that it was one of my favorite my favorite boyfriend, my boyfriend's favorite series. And that made me think, oh, it's probably very violent and full of despair, but also really, really good. And that was enough to make me curious and want to read it. And then what I realized that this is like the closest thing I've read to One Piece that isn't One Piece in terms of these complicated hierarchies of power and world building, like a real society that functions around the superpowers and the supernatural elements that were within the series. And just like all of these large factional battles and stuff, it impressed me in ways that basically no other series besides One Piece has really impressed me. And then it was so much more than that too, because it was also very violent and full of despair, and it was also a great philosophical inquiry into the state of living in an extremely tragic world. It was also a very cozy slice of life manga at times, all too briefly. It was a character study on so many different fronts of so many different characters. Again, like weaving in these supernatural elements in a way that maintains kind of like a complex human psychology that we see through all sorts of different lenses, all sorts of different characters that we can imagine existing in our real human world. And now it's all ending. And to me, it's ending maybe kind of abruptly, because I think I kind of expected this final volume to be some big climactic fights, which there were, and then some big kind of final thesis statements on the philosophy of the series, which there were. And then I thought there would be kind of like a resolution to that we would see what has changed. How do we expect our characters to live going forward? What will the world be like in Tokyo Ghoul after these events? And we don't really have room for that, because this is the last chapter. It is a long chapter. We should get into it. There's 40 pages. It's called Goat Song. So, of course, is referring to the alias of the former one-eyed king leader of this ghoul cult, Aogiri, who was also Kaneki's favorite author. And, you know, the goat imagery has persisted and reoccurred throughout the series. Oh, wow, okay, this is it! We're getting like 40 pages of what happened after. Tokyo changed after that. Okay, Hideyoshi still covering up his disfigured mouth, but in a happier way. Our fight against the CCG and Nimura Furuta, which became known as the Dragon Assault, resulted in the destruction of the single poisonous oviduct, containment of the spread of ROS. I gotta zoom in here, because the text is really small. So stuff is still spawning. Remaining oviducts continue to produce non-poisonous spawn that will attack people. Dragon orphans, a common enemy to humans and ghouls alike. Okay, so we can see how some threads of a new society are kind of weaving these previously opposed groups together, perhaps. CCG office was disbanded and reorganized as Tokyo Security Community, or TSC. Half of its members are former CCG investigators. The battle continues even after 6 years. 6-year time skip! Okay, so now we're gonna see what a whole bunch of people are doing. It's like the end of the movie when there's freeze frames and we see what happens to everybody. Marude is the TSC director, Okay. Mabuchi is the intelligence section chief. His eyes got worse. He's wearing the silly spirally glasses. Tsukiyama is a representative of something called the United Front. Okay. Working with Banjo. My boy. Okay. The Tsukiyama family fortune was used to fund the reconstruction of Tokyo. Interesting, interesting. Ichimi brothers supporting Banjo. Joe later married Banjo. Alright, cool. Let them know when I go see them. Right, that's what we talk about. Matsuri, the final surviving member of the Washu family, gave up that right and served as a general TFC employee. Okay. The Washu family bloodline ended with him. Aura. Teacher. Cool. She remained single her entire life. An interesting factoid that I feel like has some significance that's lost on me, maybe. I guess just Aura... I don't know. Because she was in the garden program too, right? So it's like, does she not want to pass on? Oh, whatever. Ui. Yeah, Tanakamaru. Totally bald now. He's a priest, I see. Okay, cool. Working at his family's temple. Ui is deputy head of the TSC Academy. Pretty gruesome case in the 4th. Okay, so there's still... It's kind of like how things were at the very start of the series, in that there's no like full-scale wars happening. You know, back then they were afraid of Aogiri, but all of that kind of heated up over the progress of the story. And, you know, at the start it was just sort of these like random attacks and encounters and stuff. It wasn't anything so out of control. Stabbed to death by a student. So it's like, things aren't idealistic. Still kind of rough. Still challenges. But now it's like, there's not this full-scale animosity between humans and ghouls, perhaps. Instead, there's kind of the relationship that humans had with ghouls, and now it's both of them having it with these dragon orphans. But then what are the ghouls eating? Take-chan works at a funeral parlor. Okay. Kudamoto moves to Kansai, where the CCG is still there. See, it's like, in the end, was it all just Tokyo? And life didn't really change that much outside of Tokyo? It's just, I don't know. That's so interesting. Just the way that different series deal with, like, scale. I think this is quite an interesting way to think about it. This was really a Tokyo Ghoul. It's just so funny. Like, the CCG disbanded in Tokyo. That way of life is over. They were corrupt to the gills. It was just a Washu feeding ground. But in Kansai, there's still a CCG. You can just go work there. Nice. He quit smoking. Sometimes visit Investigator Arima's grave, too. Okay. These are all the former CCG guys. Out here killing dragon orphans. Ude, assistant special marshal, cool. Arima's... What was Yusa's relation to Arima? I can't remember. They're evolving rapidly. They're looking more and more human, too. Some with the intelligence of a 5-year-old are leading a group of them. So it's like almost it's very similar to how things were at the start, where it's like there is this like growing thread. Like the thread is becoming more coherent and organized. It's like the birth of a new species that is like now a third species of humanity alongside human and ghoul. Maybe a long time ago, something like the Dragon Assault happened and created ghouls. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I feel very intrigued and like I feel very like emotionally cathartic about this. And it's interesting to me because this might be kind of spoilers for Attack on Titan, but Attack on Titan is not really a significant spoiler, but it kind of ended on the same note of like, well, it could all happen again. And I found that very frustrating. I felt like that was almost a middle finger to the readers. But here it doesn't seem like that so much. Here it feels like this cyclicness and this kind of return to the initial conditions and the possibility for the same conditions to arise has like kind of a wisdom to it. It's like a perspective that feels more zoomed out now and more holistic and empathetic. Again, just that kind of greater holistic thinking winning out over, you know, the short-sighted nihilism of Furuta and stuff feels reflected by this new condition that everyone's in. Got here before me. Okay. Good. Visiting graves. We're getting info cards not just for characters, but also for regenerative medicine. Interesting that they mentioned someone had to pay for a treatment, too. I suppose that was, like, a major motivating factor at the start of Re. But, I don't know, man. It's like, damn, they don't got universal healthcare yet? Not even that? Going back to the chateau, where, so many nice memories were made. Suzuya still leading the squad in the TSC. Ooh, he's awake? This dude was in a coma, right? Sees Juzu Suzuya, his weird thing. Wow, so yeah, they were able to pull him out of the coma. I guess somebody could afford it. And we get this very touching moment. Which I like how this is done, because it's like, this wasn't really a major plot line, right? Like, it was something that sort of informed Suzuya's character and represented this kind of like passing of the torch of power and responsibility at the time. And then we kind of knew that Suzuya had this like sadness within him, this kind of tragedy that's unfolding around him. But it wasn't like a focalized point, and I think I just assumed that the only resolution it could have was a sad one. But instead here, as a consequence of everything else, saved the lives of many patients otherwise deemed hopeless. Suzuya became one of the top marshals, earned the rank of Dragon General, the highest distinction, badass. There's the Suzuya squad. Everybody getting a little wrap-up. This is the sort of ending I initially pictured. And then more and more and more, I was like, I guess that's not what they're doing. And then they're doing it like 100 times more than I ever would have guessed. Just like every character. Here's how they did. Served as instructor, nicknamed Nakari the Devil. Hee hee. Okay. Hair's all gray now. Wow, Naki in the United Front, which of course is led by not his chums, but, you know, people that had similar lives. The United Front helped educate ghoul orphans and trained young ghoul volunteers. Had 9 children with Mizo. Wow, okay. Here we see all the kids. This is amazing. This is like, as I said, the series had a lot of like One Piece type appeal to me. And this is the sort of thing they're going to have to do with One Piece too. Not necessarily this format or this structure, but there's so many characters that all have their loyal fans that all want to see, hey, what happened to Chef Zeph, Sanji's mentor, way back on the Barati? Hey, what happened to Mayor Iceberg of Water 7? We want to know. We got to check in with him at least a panel in those final chapters. And I think Oda's going to do it too. I think it's the only way to finish a series like this, really. Synthetic foods developed synthetic foods that ghouls could safely ingest. Whoa! Alright. Cool. I that's a problem solved, I guess. Cool. They should have been working on that the whole time. I guess that's the thing, right? They didn't realize that that would work. There was a sense that ghouls like wanted to eat humans. That even if they could satiate themselves other ways, as we found many ghouls were doing, there was a sense that they would prefer to eat humans because all of these high-profile killers clearly were doing it for more than just satiation. But now I think, you know, as humans and ghouls have come to understand each other and they realize that the bad actors in each of their groups are a minority, they're like, well, hey, maybe we can have synthetic meat. This kind of reminds me of the ending of Beastars, which I won't, you know, get into in much depth because it's spoilers, but like, I don't know, there's the same sort of like, well, we probably should have been working on that. Increase in ghoul researchers, yeah. But it tastes bad. Oh, that's normal human food tastes bad. I see. Nishino and GF are working on being able to eat normal human food too, which is great because human food is great. Madam A, even Madam A gets a happy ending. Oh, dude, and Chie, the sneaky little photography girl. Whoa. Still becomes friends with Tsukiyama. Alright. Some ghouls, however, continue to harm humans. Again, this is good. Some people getting sad endings. Tragic endings. Being the most dangerous ghoul since the inception of the TSC. The battle continues. Which, again, I think is like more realistic because the sort of power structures that we were dealing with by the end there were so like fragile and so full of inner turmoil that like you could never say, oh, and then they all lived happily ever after. Oh, they all just came to an agreement. No way. The only way that there can be this tenuous peace is because of external threats and because of some people being bad actors and you know, all these violent, unfortunate things happening. There's one of our owl boys, Takizawa. Half Kakuja preying on ghouls. Move to Europe to convert combat violent ghouls. One of the twins. We got, yeah, this is like a little bit of world building again. A little bit of scope widening. That we realize like a lot of shit is still unfolding all over the world. This is, in the end, just one story of many in this world, which is very cool, I think. Alright, the buds are here, all my friends are here. The Q's, third generation, living happily. Taking the name Kisho. Wow, he could have just been Kisho Arima too. Uday's there. Psycho is there. The motherly mascot of the chateau. Does that mean she's leaving her room? Wow. Moodski did not stay with the CSC. In the CCG regional branch. Okay. Special investigator. Yeah, Moodski, very, very strong. Also, I don't know, yeah. Those kids are all growing up now. Gemaru. Sure. Aura's nephew. Psycho going out and visiting everybody. Ha ha ha. Taught reading and writing at the United Front's Orphanage for Ghouls. How nice, how nice. Whoa, these guys have a kid. Udai's best friend now. Marude's aide. So many characters. I'll be real with you. I like recognize most of these characters in some capacity. But it's like a testament to how interwoven all of these small stories of all these different people were throughout this entire series. It's there's a lot of significance that's lost on me, I'm sure. A lot of maybe little jokes and stuff. It reminds me of how at the end of chapters they would have those little character profiles, like a haiku written by each character or their responses to different personality quizzes. That really, you know, brought out the personalities and relationships of all these people. And now it feels like all of that is like being paid off in such a major, meaningful way. And it just makes me want to reread the entire series because I know so much of it is lost on me. It's a series that rewards its most devoted fans, especially, I think. It's not one that will continually flatten the plot line and simplify it, like folding in ingredients in order to make sure everybody is on the same page and everybody can understand 100% of what's happening. But instead, you know, just this rich mosaic of all these minor characters that contribute to the whole world, and it rewards you for plumbing these depths and really understanding who everyone is. What the heck? Oh, there we go. Whoa! These three are still buds! Uta planned on attacks on Momo, designed masks and silver accessories. Probably lived happily as long as Yomo was alive. Yeah. Yomo with bows in his hair. The buds. Tori enjoyed whatever Yuta did. She may have never told him her feelings for him. Eventually went south to find love. Oh, man. Toka. Often visit Toka and Kaneki between Uta's attacks to see their daughter. What a strange relationship everyone has. That's so nice, though. And Toka, just this loving mother. What a nice kitchen they got, dude. Gas stove, okay. Pros and cons, but, you know, if you're focused just entirely on the quality of food you can make, gas is unparalleled. Nice big double sink. Looks like a dishwasher. Drip coffee maker. Okay, you can upgrade that, but you got a nice kettle. And then over here, look how big this island is. That's like a whole second counter space. Like, that is all the counter space I have in my apartment, and that's just bonus. Lucky woman. I wish I had a big kitchen. Alright, everybody coming together. Their adorable little daughter, 8 years old now, I suppose. Uday in the back, looking like he's not having fun at all. Still calling her Memen's wife. An apple. Girl loves fruit. That's interesting. Their daughter loves fruit? So she can eat human food, I guess? Is what's we're to understand there? I don't know. Okay. And then there he is. We haven't seen him looking this boyish and happy in a long ass time. His body still seems riddled with scars. I don't know about this button up with loose top, like loose sweatshirt top. I don't know, but whatever. It's all good. That's a happy Kaneki. I love to see it. The world keeps changing. Nearly drowned in the dragon's fluids after eradicating it, but was saved by Ayato Kirishima. Turned to the surface in bad shape and slept for 2 whole weeks. Provided assistance with the TSC and the United Front. I have to keep helping us. Oh, I want to, Hide. This nice little moment between Hide and Kaneki. The first relationship of the whole series. These were the buds that were hanging out in the cafe when everything went down. All the talk about me bother you. I may have come to terms with what I did, but not everyone accepts my actions or even my existence. Still wonder if the world changed for the better or for the worse. This is kind of cool, you know, because I've been talking like nonstop for the last 3 chapters about how Kaneki, yeah, he's resolved shit. He's put order into his life. He's holistically, you know, been able to reckon with all the different parts of his life. All this good stuff. But that doesn't change the way other people are going to see him. It gave motivation for him to act, but now that those sorts of big definitive climactic acts aren't necessary, the influence that other people have on his life, it becomes way more important. And yeah, it's kind of an open question of like, how are other people going to treat the decisions he made? And B, you know, that sort of stuff will start weighing on him. It's not just an externality, but, you know, something that infects his state of mind as an empathetic person. You know, you make a big choice, you build up all of your resolution to do that. You feel like this is it, based on everything that I've been through, everything that I know, everything that I am. I have to do this. You can feel 100% good about that in the moment, and then that feeling doesn't last forever. The anxieties creep back in, and I think this is like very realistic, and just this lovely kind of human note to end things on. Don't want to be helpless, right? Yeah. How many times are you gonna say that? Hideyoshi lived in an orphanage after his ghoul investigator father died. He was in elementary school. He was adopted and later met Ken Kaneki. Whoa, wow. Interesting to give that, like, chronological perspective on Hideyoshi, like, presenting his life like that. I think you say it a lot when I'm not around. Using experience with the CCG and the TSC, he traveled around the world to help spread the peace efforts of the United Front. He and Ken Kaneki remained best friends their entire lives. And here it is, this beautiful windswept field. And that, I think, must be it. The end. Ending on a cup of coffee. I'm so happy with that ending. You know? I think it's like, had I tried to articulate what I would hope for in an ending, it would have been almost exactly that. Like, a resolution to all the characters, inner peace for all our main characters, hope for the future. I wanted a happy ending. I really wanted a happy ending. it would have been so heartbreaking after all that suffering to end on a sad ending too. And I think just the tone this strikes, the ambiguities that are left, the struggles that still persist, the feeling of that was just one story in this whole world and things will just keep going on was so beautifully realized in that. I'm so glad I finally finished it. I'm so glad that I finally finished it. Oh man. Okay. I think that's it. I don't really have too much else to say. I said a lot. We've been talking about Tokyo Ghoul for hours and hours now. Thank you to whoever decided to join me on this little journey. I found it very satisfying. And hopefully we will finish off more manga in the near future and get over these mental obstacles of not being able to read the final chapters of things. Okay. Bye bye for now.